Is it 223? Have we done that? Is that it?
Could it be?
Could it
I think
be
you're lined up.
223? I like it. Hi, welcome. It's We Were Gamers, a podcast of 223 episodes plus in length. I say plus because we do all sorts of fun bonus episodes, but on these, the main pod, it's me, Andy, and Michael.
Hey, everybody.
And JJ.
Hello.
And we talk ostensibly about video games, of which we will talk many today. But also sometimes you just have to join the Brunswick stew crew.
Oh, you too?
I have now partaken of the Brunswick. I like it quite a bit.
And? Yeah, right?
I had an
Okay, so
extra... Well, okay, sorry.
I was just going to say, what meats did you use to start?
I didn't have pulled chicken, which was a suggestion to go with my pulled pork leftovers. So we had pulled pork, and then I added kidney beans alongside lima beans and black-eyed peas to kind of make up the lacking meat quantity.
Okay, so you beefed up the beans a little bit.
One could say I beefed the beans. Did you guys use barbecue sauce in yours, or did you just go the Worcestershire vinegar, brown sugar?
Was in the recipe. I put it in there. Absolutely,
tomato?
we did.
Okay, so you did barbecue. Okay. This other recipe I found basically had me make barbecue sauce inside the pot. So, you know, I liked it. It's very rich. I'm glad it's a leftovers thing, not an all the time thing.
It is a hearty stew for which you could come back many times and just do like, you make it once and then you have like a bowl of it every other day throughout the week.
Yeah. And in true stew fashion, it tastes a little better each time.
Nice. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Should we be doing the food minutes? We should keep going on food minutes because there's
Yeah. While we're on food, I got asked a food question, and so I'll pose the same thing to you guys and see where your opinions lie. Andy,
my
I know
opinions don't lie.
With two small girls in the house, there is a lot of fruit being consumed
All the time.
So, preference on fruit, room temperature, cold, or it depends on the fruit.
Depends on the fruit.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with depends there for sure.
There's a wide range in the world of fruit. I'm not going to eat a cold banana.
Yep.
Unless it's on ice cream. But even then you might want a warm banana. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In general, berries you're going to want cold because they spoil. So you got to... Cold means they're not spoiled.
I'll eat a room temp strawberry, though. I'm okay with that.
Sure, I mean, if they've been set out for a meal and they have come up to room temp, there's nothing wrong with that. They get a little juicier.
Yeah.
So I'm not against a room temp berry. I don't know if I have a strong set of criterion. I like apples cold. A lot of people don't.
That was one. So the friends that I was having this conversation with, that was the one that probably split people the most, was where do you fall on apples?
Interesting.
Gosh,
JJ?
I feel like I've had them both ways, and it was just like I was eating the apple wherever it was. He's like, was it sitting in a bowl on the countertop and was just room temp? I'll eat that apple. If it was in the refrigerator, I went there and I took the apple, or apple slices maybe sometimes, and ate those. Like I don't think I care about the temperature of the food there.
Yeah, I like mine cold. They seem a little crisper that way to me.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see it.
Room temp mangoes for sure.
See, mangoes, I threw a curveball and said frozen.
Okay, but that's like dessert.
Still a mango. I'm not doing anything to it.
Is a mango that far from dessert anyway, really?
Oh, I'll just have a mango for breakfast.
Okay, but I mean, if you're saying a frozen mango is dessert, how is a non-frozen mango not dessert?
Because if I'm gonna eat a frozen mango, it's gotta go with something else, like into
I
a
see.
shake.
So you're saying like a frozen mango plus ice cream, now it's dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like
dessert.
I'm not gonna just eat a frozen mango unless that's Michael's implication.
Oh, yes. That was my implication, and you're missing out.
What are you doing?
He's freezing his mangoes, apparently.
Exactly.
I've frozen plenty of mangoes because they're gonna go bad, and then you put them in
Right.
shakes and on ice cream and.
All right, here's a question, and I don't know if it's even controversial. If y'all have to pick a location to go get a shake, you can't make it yourself. You have to buy one from like a food serving establishment. Do you have a go-to? Do you have a place you really like?
Like a milkshake?
Yeah, milkshake we're talking about specifically.
Oh, Michael's got the best one, I think.
I don't want to hear about this like one place that lives exactly in one location made by artisanal shake creators. Okay.
No, it's a chain, but it's not a chain out here.
Oh, okay. I
have
thought you were gonna go Salt and Straw.
No, Salt and Straw is good, but I usually get ice cream there. No, if I had anywhere I could go, my place for a milkshake would be a chain called Cookout.
Does a Blizzard count as a shake?
No.
It's
Blizzards are
basically
ice cream with stuff in them.
Okay.
You can't turn a shake upside down and have it stay in the cup.
Exactly. It falls out. And yeah, this came up in the context of we were talking about fast food specifically. So I'm going to make you guys pick fast food chains.
Fast
here.
food
so
shakes.
this is a fast food chain.
Okay, fast food shakes is because I know I'd go to like the place I like ice cream at, and then whatever.
Yeah,
Fast
so it's like, I can go to like a
restaurant
Baskin Robbins and get a shake, and it's going to be better than the ones
Right,
at a
okay.
fast food place. But we were talking about fast food in the context of this discussion.
In and out.
Yeah. I think I don't have any problem with In-N-Out shakes. I think they're fine. I think I like Jack in the Box ones a little bit more.
I can't even remember the last time I had a Jack in the Box shake.
Reasonable. Jack in the Box also does Oreo, which they don't do at In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oreo is a very good shake ingredient.
Did you know you can get a Neapolitan shake at In and Out?
Absolutely, I knew that.
Okay, because that's why those shakes are good.
Secret menu.
It just tastes like you I know how they do it. It just tastes like you just took all of them and you blended them together,
Sure.
man. You're not getting like any Neapolitan there.
I get it. And I don't know that I'm saying that In-N-Out has the best shake. I don't eat fast food shakes very much. And when I do, it's usually at In-N-Out. So if someone said there was a better one at like Five Guys or something, I'd be inclined to believe you. So, and plus Oreo shake sounds awesome.
I haven't had a Five Guys shake in a very long time. They also do Oreo, I know, but it's been a very long time.
See, so that might get me,
Yeah, I think I've only had one from them once, maybe.
Habit has good shakes, but I don't know if they count as fast food.
They got a drive-through.
They do have a drive-through.
I think it's close enough.
Okay. They might be better than In-N-Out shakes, but they're also way more expensive.
Yeah. Jack in the Box is still on the same level of price as In-N-Out, and I think I like it better.
Okay, fair. Since we're on food, I have to cop to a food crime and then see what your guys' experience is with this issue.
The Court of Food Crimes is now in session. Hear ye, hear ye.
Honorable Judge JJ presiding.
I like
That's
that
right.
JJ has become the judge of the food crime court.
Is that not what one of the J's stands for?
Judge.
Certainly, it must, right? Who knows what the other one is, but
I
that
think it's
first
just
one.
judge twice.
Is the other one jury?
Judge.
The other one is jury.
Judge and jury. Oh, man. Oh, Michael.
I should get that tattooed on my knuckles, right? To be like, this one is judge, and this one is jury.
DGE. I did just count my fingers to make
And
sure
I'm
you
the
put judge-
executioner.
I counted my fingers to make sure you could put judge on them. Oh man, Michael, you're on point. I love it. Okay. This goes back to camping, wherein I discovered that I have some cast irons that I really like, and we took them camping. And they got a little bit dinged up while out there. That's not the food crime. That sort of thing happens.
Yeah, I mean, you're camping. It's not,
Yeah.
perfect conditions. You gotta scrape
one night
it.
it rained and the pan was still out, and you shouldn't do that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
that's a little-
Look,
But you can. There are ways around that.
You can
clean
scrub that off, get
Yeah.
some steel wool, and go
Right.
hard on it and reseason.
Yeah, so it runs back to this where I was like, we gotta reseason this. It's got a little few spots, so I'm gonna reseason all my pans because I can't remember the last time someone was seasoned. One of them definitely needs it also because I've had a few things stick better. And I'm pulling out cast irons, and the food crime is I discover 2 cast iron pot pie containers in the very, very, very back of the drawer. Do you want to guess what color they were?
I'm gonna go with orange.
Bright
Yeah, that's
orange.
sounds like orange to me. Yeah.
I felt like a criminal.
It's not great.
Gross-
So,
gross
okay, here's the
negligence.
thing, right? Like, how big is you call it a pot pie container, but like, is this the size of a full pie for a personal pie?
Ramekin size.
Not ramekin size. No. Make a circle with your thumb and middle fingers.
Okay, so, but it's not a pie.
In ramekin size.
Yeah, this is like
ramekin. A ramekin is this.
Ramekins
this is a
come in a
very
bunch of
big
different
ramekin.
sizes.
No. Put your 2 thumbs together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A ramekin is the size of putting your forefinger and your thumb together.
Dude, you have tiny ramekins.
No, that's a
Yes.
that's a ramekin.
They
This is
come in
a
a bunch of different sizes.
This is a very big ramekin. But it's on the order of the size of like
The
a
thing-
personal pie. You're not making this pie for the entire family. It's not big enough.
Okay, the thing is like 6 to 8 inches across. Maybe. I'm not going to get up and check. I think it's 8 inches.
Yeah.
6 to 8 inches across.
Okay. It's small is the point though.
Ramekins are for like butter. And it's deep. It's for a pot pie. It's like 4 inches deep.
My mother has dishes she uses for soufflés and those sorts of things.
Okay,
that are
yeah,
very
it would
deep
be like
and
a
the
sou-
size that
a
you're talking
large
about, and they are
souffle.
ramekins.
No.
Yes, they are.
They are.
I mean, I'm sorry that you're mad about this, but those are the name of the dish is ramekin. That's what it's called. So
Fine.
anyway, the point is, I think this is okay because pot pie containers aren't the most useful dish. How often are you even going to use that thing?
I know, but if they had been ever properly sealed, we wouldn't have had this problem, which is the crime.
Yeah, okay, fair. It's interesting though because I thought, well, I don't know, maybe these are very old cast irons.
Yeah, they're not enameled.
A lot of cast irons now come pre-seasoned from the factory.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. One of mine, the one that went camping and got damaged, was pre-seasoned, which means the seasoning was probably somewhat light.
Yeah. So the cast iron that we got recently, well, I don't know recently, but like we got, not in the distant past, it comes seasoned from the factory, and everyone is like, just season it again. Who cares? It doesn't it doesn't hurt you anything. Just like, rub it all down and throw it in the oven again. It's not going to hurt anything.
I am having a fun but extremely long time reseasoning all these cast irons.
Yeah, it is a process, man.
One of them, and I can tell it's working. It's slowly soaking up the oil and making the polymerized oil layer and all that sort of stuff. But it's so out of shape that like I think it's on its 5th round, and I can still see some spots that need to go again.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's tough, especially if you can't get it like if you can't scrub it all the way down to the metal.
Yeah.
It's hard, man.
Well, that those ramekins only did 2 rounds, and they're perfect. They look like brand spanking new.
They're smaller too, though, and like getting the rust off is actually, in my opinion, getting the rust off is easier than like taking off the partial coating of.
Oh, right.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like I don't know. It's just that it's easier for me to tell when I can just like look at the color and be like, this is bad. I need to go over this again. This one is good. Versus the other one, you kind of got to look for like the right angle to see the reflection or whatever on that coating.
Sounds like JJ, you've reseasoned a couple of these things.
Yeah.
Upside down in the oven for X amount of time.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Michael, any
Same.
experience?
Yep.
Okay.
What kind of oil do you
I've
use?
had at least one that's come not seasoned. So yeah, upside down in the oven.
I've been using a mixture of what is that called? Oh my gosh. Well, one of them's avocado and the other one starts with an S. It's not sesame.
Okay.
Cool. I'm great at this.
I think we've been using almost primarily vegetable oil.
Sure. Uh-huh.
Yep,
Just like
that's what I do. Canola usually.
I just went with avocado because the higher smoke point.
That's the difference there.
I'll never remember this oil until after the podcast, but it smells
Cool.
different, but it's interesting.
Because there are some oils that have flavors, and they tell you to stay away from certain ones for those reasons.
Oh, sure. Like you also don't
Don't use olive oil, right? Because
don't use olive oil. Don't use peanut oil.
Right. Yeah.
It's called people use them for woks, and I can't remember what the oil is that people use for woks.
I think it's not sesame oil. Are you sure?
No, it's definitely not sesame oil.
No, you definitely don't want to use sesame oil.
No, you'd go broke. First of all, I don't know. We're wasting precious podcast time thinking about some silly oil name.
It's not grapeseed, is it?
It's not grapeseed.
That's another common one.
Oh my god, am I gonna have to go up? Are we not gonna be able to move on unless I get up and go look?
No, we truly don't care. We truly don't care.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. Well, I'm glad.
I enjoy doing that after. I enjoy the maintenance of those a little bit after every meal. You gotta scrub it down. You gotta dry it because you can't leave it wet. Then put a little bit of oil in it and make sure it heats up nice before you put it away.
I'm sure I talked about on this podcast getting all those new pans for our house.
The
ordeal, but also like I find myself now that I have a really nice set of knives. Cottonseed oil.
Doesn't start with an S.
Nope, seed. I was thinking of seed. Cottonseed oil is what I was thinking of. That just popped into my head. Anyway,
it's a random one.
It's got a strange smell and flavor, but it really coats thick. But I do like 4 drops of that, like drops, and then mostly avocado oil because of the high smoke point. Okay, nice things in the kitchen: cast irons, good knives, whatever. I find myself like enjoying spending the maintenance time of like, oh, I'm done cutting. I know I have more dishes to do later, but this nice knife, I need to wash and dry it now, in a careful manner so that it doesn't, and like you said, washing out your cast iron, wiping it out, putting it on the stove, dry it out. It's it becomes kind of like a more ritualistic place to be in the kitchen, which I don't think is a bad thing.
I find it, I end up doing the dishes a lot. And so I find it a more interesting task to do than washing the rest of the dishes, which I find to be extremely boring. It just like not boring. Boring is the wrong. It is boring also, but it's mindless generally.
Mindless
right? You
is
kind of
the
just
word.
like not think about what you're doing, and you kind of just like do the motions. But it's a little like thing you can kind of do on the side while you're doing the mindless thing, because it's not like I need to sit there and watch it cook.
Right, yeah. Cool. Oh, boy. That was a food 20 minutes. That was fun. We should do that more.
It's been a while.
Speaking of chores, Michael.
Andy.
I spy on you on the internet once in a while. And noticed you've been running.
Yeah.
Have you used the app Zombies Run?
No, but I'm gonna guess it's you being chased by zombies to encourage you to go on runs.
Yeah, kind of. Like the app you put in your pocket, and you put on your headphones, and you can do it on an iWatch too, and you can like kind of watch what's happening if you want to.
Okay.
But you'll be running, and then you'll hear zombies through the headphones or whatever, and then you need to like pick up your pace, otherwise they'll catch you. That kind of thing.
Huh.
JJ,
Yes.
they have added a Blaseball mode.
So I saw this. What is this?
I don't know. I was hoping you knew.
Fair.
As they are sponsoring season 5 of Blaseball, I knew what Zombies Run is. And I thought, oh, maybe Michael knows. Maybe Michael's used it. I've never used it. I just know what it is. I think
I have not.
friend of the
Interesting.
pod, Chris, used to use it. But
Yeah, I don't know that I have ever used the app, so I don't know.
but now what is Blaseball mode? Knowing what the
man.
app does, what could it possibly be?
I don't know, dude. Knowing what Blaseball is, the possibilities are literally infinite, right?
Welcome to season 5 of Blaseball. This is your Blaseball. God knows how long I have to complain about what has happened to the Tigers.
I don't know. They're still all right, man. You gotta believe in your team. You can't just throw your fandom out the window because, I mean, hey, we didn't get shamed, right? Like that's really I think that's really the thing. They had a vote to shame the best team in the league, and then they didn't do it.
Okay, so what happened? What happened to the page that tells you everything that happens? Because it disappeared, and I can't tell what happened at the end of last season. Like what all the blessings ended up being nothing.
So there is. I found out on a fan wiki. I'm not
I
sure
see. Okay.
where the official post is.
Got it. All right.
But yeah, I think the two decrees that went through were the targeted shame and alternate reality.
Well, we definitely figured out that. Well, targeted shame is the one that, like, if you win a game, then you shame people. Then they're shamed the next game.
It is if you are shamed, you begin the next game with negative runs.
That's awful.
And it applies. The targeting shame targeted only the 4 best teams from last season.
I see.
So all the top 4 last season, if they are shamed,
yeah, that's
they
going to
will
lead
then
to
start
losing
the
streaks for the good.
That's-
Yes, it
teams.
will.
Poor get poorer kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the thing it will do though is it will make the betting interesting because the targeted shame I don't know is accounted for in the percentages.
Oh, so you'll have to know who the top 4 teams were from last season.
Or the teams have, if you click on the teams, it'll show you like they have there's a little symbol on them, some of them for targeted shame.
Oh, targeted shame right there.
And so then you can go, oh, I know that
If
the
if they
Tigers
get
lost the
shamed,
last game
I
and
see.
they're going to start with negative runs here. So I should bet on the underdog, even though it's only like 43% or whatever.
Wow.
And yeah, so it gives you some betting outcomes there that are a little interesting, I think.
Firefighters, millennials,
Tigers.
Pies? Who would be the 4th one?
I think it's the Pies and
No, it's not
the
Pies.
Tigers.
I just checked.
It's not?
Mm-mm.
Oh. All right, I don't know
It
that.
doesn't matter. Not gonna look it up. Wow, Michael, when are you gonna come join the One Tiger, man?
There are many stripes, Michael, but it is all one tiger.
I don't know. I'm still I'm enjoying regular baseball at the moment because my team's currently on top of their division.
I breathed very heavily. I don't know if Discord picked it up.
I hopefully not own somebody else.
No, what? No. What are you talking? Ugh.
Breathing on people is frowned upon these days,
It's
Andy.
halfway illegal. Yeah. Probably should be.
I think it is the Jazz hands that got the other targeted
Okay.
shame.
Well, no. Real baseball is as disappointing as it generally is for me.
Well, we're talking about sports. Y'all want to hear about fantasy football?
How's that going?
Hold on, let me take a big swig. Oh boy.
I just saw. Hold on, before you start your story, I just saw 3 teams in the MLB have now shut down their games for this coming week because of positive tests, and also, 2 schools have now shut down, colleges that tried to reopen. So, tell me how the NFL is going to go
by this point.
Well, they're going to play, Andy.
Uh-huh.
I think it's going to go about as well as the MLB has gone, which is to say, quite badly.
Worse. They don't have as many games.
They're not doing any bubble stuff. They're not doing any kind of like sequestering of the teams. Uh-huh. The teams are being tested, that's my understanding. But who knows how often? There is an IR designation for COVID. God knows what's going to happen. I think my guess to what happens is randomly every Sunday, a bunch of players are just all of a sudden out.
Yep.
And then it's like they have like a half of an offensive line because everyone got COVID or whatever.
Well, shouldn't they isolate the team? Anyway, I'm not going to get into
that. So who knows? But
whether they isolate the teams or not, or if they just extend the season and postpone games. But for fantasy purposes, what does this mean?
Well, I don't know is the answer. But I thought it was silly to even try to play because things are just going to be a nightmare. But people at my work were like, let's do it, man. So, okay. We wrangle all the cats, get everyone together. You got 12 people. You have to figure out one time that everyone can be online at the same time, Comes out to be 9:00 on a Sunday night. Great.
9 p.m. on a Sunday for a live draft?
This is an online auction draft.
I know, but it's live control.
But also
action.
auction.
Yeah. Auction.
So, yeah, longer generally.
What time did this end?
I think I went to bed about midnight.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not great. But for me, I didn't log on until maybe like 15 minutes before the start of the thing, because I was doing some stuff. I had a dinner with some parents and another thing. And then I get messages from people being like, hey, man, I don't think I can make the draft. I have a fever. I think it's COVID. My daughter is being born in 3 weeks. I have to drop out of the league.
Oh,
wow.
What? There's a whole lot of things just being thrown at you right there. You're like, oh, he's sick. He has a fever. That's bad. I mean, people get sick. That happens. It's like an okay excuse to miss a thing. Missing the draft sucks, but auto draft is a thing, whatever. I think it's COVID. Well, I mean, of course you think it's COVID. Like everyone thinks that. It may or may not be. Who knows? But this is all online. It's not like you're in my house. I don't really care if you have it or not, right? Like, stay home. Do the right thing. It's good, right?
Okay.
My daughter is being born in 3 weeks. Okay. I mean,
that's not new.
You knew this going in, probably, I assume, that you would have a child here.
Ballpark figure of when that would happen.
Who knew when the daughter would arrive, right? I'm sure they don't know. But I'm sure they did know that they were having a daughter when they were signing up for this, right?
Right.
Or having some child, maybe. And then they were like, I think I could play fantasy this year. That's fine. And then 30 minutes before the draft, tell us I'm going to drop out of the league. Cool.
Oh, boy.
Come on, dude.
So we... and then like as people are logging into the draft and at some point you can't make any changes anymore, right? 30 minutes before the draft, Yahoo locks out your controls as the commissioner and you can't change stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So we hadn't found a replacement in the 2.5 minutes before it locked me out. So now we're in draft mode and we're like, well, what are we going to do here?
Do we even do this to take over?
We could try that. What are we going to do? But it's so easy to punish an auto drafting team in a live draft because you can just they will bid up to averages that you can guess, plus or minus some value.
Yeah.
You can just bid terrible players for $1 as the first player and they will bid their, the player's average, even though no one would pay that for like the first player, right?
Mhm.
Bid like a 6th round guy for $2, and they're going to bid $7 on a guy who should go for 1 later, right?
Ooh, yeah.
That kind of a thing. And so, it's just so easy to abuse those players. And then you fill up their roster with a bunch of mediocre guys and they have no actual talent. And, their season is over essentially. And so, knowing that you can't do that, right? Or that it's going to happen, right? Another person has a legitimate excuse for missing. And this was the only time we could get 11 of 12 anyway, right? So now you have 2 auto drafting teams. What are you going to do?
Oh,
So we come up with an idea, and I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but I wanted to get your takes on it. The team is essentially a black hole, right? You're going to lock their players, whatever they end up with, they're going to end up with. If they get someone fancy or someone that someone likes, too bad, their roster is locked for the entire season. At the end of the week, though, their score gets edited to be the average of the league's scores, not including their team. So it's like you're playing someone who is the exact middle of your league.
Well, it's or put another way, it's like you're playing everyone every week.
yeah, that's more like the people that say, well, I could beat everybody except for the one person that scored higher than me kind of thing.
Yes.
This would be one of those types of systems on the miniature where, like, okay, well, everybody plays everybody that way. That's kind of cool. I don't hate that.
I like that.
It is a solution.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know that I like it either. Someone's point was that, like, well, it's the average, right? So that means necessarily it's going to be higher than some people. It's going to win games.
One would hope it wins games.
Sure.
I mean, it may or it may not, right? It may get unlucky the same way other players do.
How are you going to calculate the average, though? You could calculate it. You could calculate it a couple of different ways.
I mean, I'm going to add up the points, the totals of every team, and divide by the number of non-zombie teams, right?
Yeah, but you could do what is that? That's the mean, right? So you could do a median instead.
I mean, that's not an average. You're talking about like the middle score, right? Picking
like
instead the middle score.
You could, instead of doing a mean average, which might get offset by a couple teams that score really ridiculously high, you could do like a median so that it definitely still beats some people, but maybe not as many people.
I mean, I think well, who knows? I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
I mean, it's hard when your sample size.
I think
is
there are
only 11 teams.
That way it would also tie some people, right?
Yeah, it is there are problems with everything, I think.
Well,
yeah.
Welcome to being commish, buddy.
Yeah, it was pointed out by one of the other players who suggested it and said that a league he was in had used this in the past to play with an odd number of people.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And so they had a 12th team. That team auto drafted. They just lock it. It can't make any roster moves the entire season. And then you just edit its score at the end of the week to be that. So I don't know. It was what it was. Okay. The auction was fun. Otherwise, it's just I don't even know. Is anything going to even happen? Like everything I felt was just overshadowed by the idea of like, can I even trust this team to stay like not completely infected and play games? Yeah. So who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. So what's going to be interesting for me? So my Pick'em League just sent out an email this past week asking if people were still interested in playing and proposing some kind of a rule where if we don't get far enough into the season, then any remaining money just gets refunded. But if we pass a certain point, then we'll do the break. And then, we pass a certain point and then things go sideways, then we'll just break there and divvy up the winnings as if it were the end of the season.
Yeah, I think our solution on if the season just gets called or whatever is we just refund up to that point, because so much of the football stuff is decided in the fantasy playoffs that if you don't get there, like 6th place has a very legitimate chance of winning the championship, right?
For sure.
Thankfully for Pick'em, though, it's almost always over before the playoffs.
Yeah,
well,
Pick'em I think is a lot different.
Pick'em gets weird though on a week to week basis because your picks are well, I mean, maybe just the first one. Maybe we'd have to make allowances, but usually people turn in their picks before Thursday games.
Right. And like what happened, and so then, the bigger thing that I think is crazy is what happens when they cancel individual games, right? It's not like the MLB where they can just play a doubleheader next week or whatever. You can't have like two teams play two games in a week.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you delay all the games that got missed, to the end of the season. Well, then like people's scores and stuff are messed up for the entire season. And you never know who's actually ahead of who. So I don't know. It's a giant mess. And I think the season's going to end up getting canceled, but God, who knows?
Well,
that was fun.
As you guys get back into the swing of fantasy football and pick'em, I have been using this last week to get back in the swing of using electronics and playing video games, which I haven't done in weeks.
Novel concept.
I know,
Hey,
yeah.
especially on this pod.
Shout out to the State of Decay crew who helped me get my computer back in order after massive amounts of updates after I returned caused my microphones to stop working completely, and their patience. But thankfully that means it was all working for the podcast. That was a nice little rebreather that got me back into the swing of Final Fantasy XII.
The Zodiac Age?
The very age, yes.
The political age.
Gosh.
How you feeling about Dalmasca, Andrew?
So where in the game are you, Andy? Let's start there.
I didn't advance much in terms of story because after you guys were talking on a pod that I think I was not there about trial mode, I experimented with trial mode for quite a bit, trying to get further than like a couple levels in, which is not easy.
Well, it is also
kind of snowballs on you.
It does, and the levels are. It's graded difficulty, right, going upwards, but also you don't earn any experience in there, so you are only earning license points and then items or whatever you can come away with.
Yeah, and one of the things.
And while licenses are cool and can make you stronger,
oh, definitely
experience helps.
I straight up got like enough
equipment,
a ton of license points, and gained like 400 health or something like that.
Solid, man. And there is like. If you're using those armlets and you are poaching and you are stealing, there is some sweet equipment in there for sure.
So okay, I've been stealing. You guys mentioned there's some sweet equipment. There's no like chests or anything I need to be finding, right?
I mean, there are chests in there.
There are.
Okay, so I have to run around while I'm fighting?
Chests.
Yes.
There are 2 chests in every room.
Every room has 2 chests, and you have to find them while you're fighting.
I want to say at least 2 chests, but yes.
And that's where the sweet weapons are.
Well, no, not necessarily. Some of the weapons are like rare steals or something.
Yeah, I think that's the better stuff. The equipment wise, the better stuff tends to be either stealing or poaching.
I'm trying to
usually stealing,
like a good katana or something for Vaughn, but
there is one. Do I remember where it is? The Carcata.
I know. That's a sword, I think. I think it's not a katana.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is a sword.
Well, so I tried trial mode quite a bit, especially because I wanted to get better at the battle system. To talk about the battle system and Gambits, do we have time for that today?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in terms of the battle system, and Gambits are but a piece. So
yeah, I don't like some of the ATB stuff where. Sometimes I don't get enough of, or maybe I'm just not practiced enough at canceling an action before. No, so even if you cancel an action, so like if you were attacking, say I'm attacking a rat, and Balthier or Fran or whoever shoots the rat, and it dies, and my ATB is like 99% full, there's no way to save that to attack the next rat over.
There is not, unfortunately.
Yeah, the action is kind of cute at that point, and it's sort of over.
Right. And sometimes when you do an action, the characters don't re-default to attack after, like if you run a technic.
Ah, but okay, sure.
I know you can gambit people to do it, but like your main character sometimes doesn't re-default to attack.
You can gambit your main character too.
Gambit's every character.
Can you gambit your main character and override the gambits?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You can override any of the gambits.
If you are in control of the character while the gambits are going, you can still stop and issue commands manually, and it will do the thing you said first.
You can do it with the characters you're not in control of, as long as they're in the party.
See,
it gets pretty difficult to like manage all three characters at once, though, with the gambits on it.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
But it's not worth trying, though, because you end up not needing to, really.
It seems like the gambits too don't kick in right when I think they will. Like if I have a 50% health one, it seems like they wait for their action to finish before they'll like do the 50% health heal or something, rather than canceling to try and do the 50% heal.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not going to override their like currently action, right? So if they're in the middle of casting, a black magic spell or something, they're not going to stop the middle of that spell and change to do a different spell. They're going to finish the one action, start the next one. So if they're attacking, right, it's going to wait until they hit. Yeah. If they're casting or something, it's going to do that first.
This is why I did a lot of more trial mode once the gambits became more open and I had more of them to try and get a feel for how this is going to work, because it's very different. It's really different than every other Final Fantasy system.
Yeah.
And truly trying to play it like the other Final Fantasies will eventually drive you insane, because too many things are happening at once for you to really react that way.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I've noticed like I don't even like the menu, like the info menu on the side. Like the HP, it's hard to know how full you are on HP. I see the number, but the other number is so small. Anyway, so I have to I run around more like an MMO where I'm trying to like see people's life bars. So I have to readjust where my character's pointed so I can see their life bar, that kind of stuff. And like you said, yeah, I'm starting to realize like pausing to try and control everything, every single fight is just tedious. Which means I need to get better at gambits, you guys.
You can set the game up to such a degree, and it does require you to get a bit later in the game because there are a lot of gambits, Andy. If you think you have all of them, you are wrong.
Oh, I'm sure I don't. I can see the list.
Menu. Yeah, you can see the lists, and it's just
almost all
unbelievable amount. Yeah. Literally anything you can think of can be used as a condition.
It's so strange to me that like I have to go unlock or buy 10% lower or 10% higher.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a gambit that's like cast cure and then you can choose the percentage. No. Cast cure at 30%, 40%, 50%.
This game is worse. You have to buy the cure spell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right,
and then if you have that, then you can use the gambit that says cast at whatever condition.
But only if you also have the license for that cure spell.
Right. I was going to say, so I was like, I was very surprised when I unlocked the license for cure and then the character didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an awakening.
Yeah. So they do kind of prevent you from getting like uber powerful in terms of the magic and stuff, because you aren't far enough into the game to unlock the good cure spells, the really powerful black magic spells, and so on. At just some point you just don't have it, right?
Okay, before we talk about lining your gambits up, do you think, because I'm starting to hit the spots on the license board where like now this character can unlock like this branch of the license board, I could unlock like up to 4 more gambits for that character.
I mean, how many do you have though?
Over 4 or 5, I think. Like how many gambits does a character need to have access to?
It kind of depends. So this is one of those situations where I find myself chafing a little bit at the changes that they made to the system compared to the original game. So I have my characters sort of broken out into 2 teams of 3 that I tend to bounce back and forth between. And in one case, so there's a healer on each team, but they get their healing through 2 different jobs. So I only have 1 white mage. And so the white mage, for status effects, which are huge in this game, can cast Asuna to basically clear any status effect. But my other healer doesn't have enough white magic licenses. So all of a sudden, I have to differentiate between each status condition and give its own gambit action for it.
Right. And so that's the problem.
Yeah.
And you can set up your party such that you can make every single person on your team, like you have 2 white mages, 2 knights, 2 dudes, or the polearm guys or whatever. There you go. You're gonna have the same 3 set, then your gambits get to standardize a little bit. But that's not fun, right? Like it's kind of.
I have 2 3 sets like that.
There's no because you feel like
no real reason, especially the way that the jobs break down now. It made more sense when everyone had all of the licenses.
Right. And now,
but now you're locked into 2.
And now that the jobs end up overlapping in a lot of cases to certain parts of various license boards, there's really not you kind of want to end up spacing it out. I don't know that you need to take every job, but you definitely want to consider the vast majority of them. And it just comes down to what kind of weapons do you like using? And is the major component. And then do you want magic or like black magic or not? Because at some point you'll get all the rest of that stuff through every other job, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So the black magic person and your like hasting type person, your curative time mage, those people generally need more gambit slots because you have a bunch of like conditional things you want to do in certain cases. Is enemy weak to lightning? Cast lightning spell. Is enemy weak to fire? Cast fire spell. Is enemy weak to whatever? Cast whatever spell. Right. And so like you need like 5 gambit slots for that, and then just filling it with their highest magic so they can like spam sweet spells. Right.
Right. Sure.
Versus your sword dudes or your polearm dudes, they just need one that's like foe under whatever % you feel good about attack. And then foe target leader, like party leader attack.
One for flying enemies if they can't reach.
Right, yeah. So like the flying one is like a very good one to have on everyone who doesn't have a ranged weapon, right? So either a bow or like the polearm sometimes can hit flying guys.
Mm-hmm.
But like
the dagger hit flying guys, or does that not count as flying with some of the dudes that have been?
Well, sometimes they can, right? But sometimes the land is arrayed in such a way that you can't get there.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Like a bat may not be flying high enough compared with like a dragon or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like the answer is truly it depends. And that makes it a constant stream of going into that menu and shuffling the commands around and like deciding what.
Do you guys use they have the like gambit sets where you can like switch to a different set? So like if you saw a flying enemy, you could switch into a gambit set that had flying enemy gambits?
Not yet.
Yeah, I have access to those. I have not made use of them, but I think at some point I'm going to have to for like the spellcasters.
It seems like overkill. Is what I
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is.
The system seems like they added so much to it that it became complicated for its own sake.
You can absolutely get through this game with like 2 knights and a white mage.
Yep.
Right. Like, you don't need any of this stuff. You don't even need to control, like set the 2 knights to attack and the white mage to heal if their percentage HP is less than whatever. You can probably beat the game with that. As long as you're getting new equipment and whatever. But the gambit stuff you might not be able to beat all the hunts and stuff. The hunts get pretty technical with some of the stuff you have to do, like debuffing and buffing and so on.
Yeah.
What are your guys' favorite gambit go-tos?
Right at the top of the list for every character is a revive gambit.
Okay, yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like,
yeah, so
Phoenix
the priority
down,
stuff
please.
the priority stuff is where it gets interesting because they're going to do the top one before they move to the one below it, right?
Right. So you have to put things that are super important at the top, like healing has to go above attacking.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that much.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And so then it's like, well, is it more important that I remove the sap status condition, which is slowly draining my health, or do I want to remove the blind so that my guy who gets MP on attacking is able to actually hit someone and get his mana back to heal?
But does my character who's blind have access to the technique that only deals damage when you're blind?
And then, of course, you have corner cases, right?
Right.
Oof.
So it can get very complicated very fast. And, at some point, when you start trying to do this stuff, you're going to have to like pick the set you want to do and kind of like plan for this specific encounter or whatever.
Mm.
But I think like there are definitely some general rules. Like, you already caught the like, hey, healing stuff has to go before attacking stuff. Like that's a generally true rule, right? But then like, is reviving more important than healing your current party?
No.
Maybe it is though, right? Because if you get the revive off, you have another guy while they're attacking your person who just did the revive. That guy could be doing something else,
Right. Yeah.
It depends, I think, and it's interesting that way.
Yeah, that's cool.
One that I really like that has been pretty useful is to have my party leader as a character who has steal and poach, and then give them. Eventually, you'll get an item that lets you steal better loot and more of it,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can give them a gambit that says enemy H. I think mine is set up for enemy HP equals 100% steal, and then my other two characters are set to attack party leader's target. So the party leader will target them first, will steal something, and then the rest of the characters will attack, drop the enemy's HP, and then the leader's gambit will drop down to the next one.
So
the enemy HP is no longer 100%.
Are you basically just running an automated game at this point? You've got
You
your
can
party
absolutely
leader
do
gambited.
that.
You've got your party leader gambited that far.
Yeah.
So you
and for a lot of areas where you're just like running through and you don't want to take the time or you don't need to take the time to input commands for weaker level enemies, it's easy to just let the gambit take care of it.
What stops the gambit from like continuing to try to steal instead of changing him over to attack?
Nothing. So that's where you have to be a little bit, where you do have to be a little bit mindful, right? So if the attacks miss and the enemy HP stays at 100%, you're going to try and steal again, even if they don't have any items left.
Right. And so that's a case where like you want the steal to not be greater than a certain percentage. You want equals 100.
Right.
And so that gives you like a little bit of like, if you do 1 damage to that guy,
You're not going to steal.
you're not going to try and steal again. And if you're doing 1 damage to a guy, there's a likely chance you probably shouldn't be fighting him and you want to be running away.
Yes.
So, that's those are the kinds of things. But yeah, absolutely. They will just sit there and steal over and over and over. Yeah. And I think after you steal 1 time, it's done. So yeah. they'll just sit there doing mindlessly stuff.
Although sometimes that's necessary because there are some enemies that have only one thing that you can steal, but the odds of stealing are really low. So you have to do it over and over. And so setting the gambit to do it and then turning off the other character's gambits is an easy way to do it without you having to input the command over and over and over.
Is there a faster way than to turn off the other character's gambits?
Then going into the menu?
Yeah.
You don't have to go into the menu. Yes. If you just pull up the input menu and scroll any of the characters on that first page of the input menu, there's a little option that says Gambits, and it's just a toggle on off.
Oh, I thought that meant I didn't mess with that menu because I was like, I don't need to edit their gambits or change that.
No, it's just a toggle.
Silly.
It is literally like, do you want this character to be a dumb brick or do you want it to try and do anything?
Yeah. I just thought that menu would contain more than that, so I didn't click on it.
No, it doesn't contain anything. It's literally just an on-off. You click it and it turns them off or on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and they have a little G next to their name if the gambit's on.
I know that the G was on. Yeah. What a wacky system.
It's It's super weird, man. There are no other games like
They
this.
must have intended for you to do it like Michael's thinking, where you sort of run
Yes.
an automated game.
Yes, I think so.
Because there are times when things just get too chaotic for you to manually input everything.
Especially some fights. At some points, you start fighting, like more than like 2 or 3 guys at once. Guys spawn from 2 sides of a room, and there's a boss, and then there's floating
I've done a
around or
couple
whatever.
fights where there's 5 or 6
Swarms of undead.
And at some point, you're not really going to be able to you attack undead soldier H, and you handle flying bat Q. No, this isn't going to be how you're handling this.
Michael, how are you switching targets for your party leader without using the attack command or the steal command?
So in the case where I have the steal set up, if there are say 3 enemies around me, I'll steal from the first one. The 2 support characters will then target that enemy for attack. As soon as his HP drops, the party leader's gambit is such that he will then target the next enemy that has 100% HP. So his target will jump, and they'll catch up to wherever he's targeting. So he'll make his way through stealing from all of the enemies, while the rest of the team basically goes around the circle behind him and attacks each one.
I see. Okay, got it.
And it will eventually, if you need to target a specific one or whatever, there's some issues there, right?
Yeah,
but that's the game.
C'est la vie, I think.
It is interesting. I enjoy fiddling with it to some degree. I think until it gets to the point where I'm having to set up 15 gambits to cure every single, this guy casts 100 status effects in one spell, and I have to cure them one at a time, and it just makes me want to die.
So at that point, JJ, you need someone with remedy lore.
Yeah.
And then just throw a remedy at them and cure it. It does the same thing as Asuna, but it's an item.
Yeah, I just need to get those licenses. It's just I don't know which ones that guy has access to. I just haven't. Anyway.
Yep.
It half the time when this happens, I just switch the white mage back in because I know they have the cure all spell.
Yep. So I will make one other comment on licenses here. So I don't know about you, JJ, but after a couple of runs deep into trial mode, my license boards are all filled.
So mine aren't filled, but I have quite a number of them. I have a large percentage of both boards.
Right.
Because of trial mode, also for you, JJ?
Yeah. Not just trial mode, but I think mostly trial mode.
Yeah. So for a while, I was going to complain about, the way that they changed this with only having access to some of the licenses means that license points get obsoleted much earlier in the game, and now what am I supposed to do? Until I found the cat ear hood. And I don't know if you've come across this yet. When your clan rank gets high enough, they sell it at the clan shop in the bazaar in Rabanastre.
Okay.
And it converts for any character that has one equipped, it converts license points to gil at a rate of 5 times your current level per license point per character that has one equipped.
And that's newly acquired license points, not what they have on them?
Yes, it's newly acquired license points.
It's a lot of money, man.
And it applies to trial mode.
Whoa.
Sure, I mean, all you earn in there is license points, so
Yep.
Yeah.
So throw 3 of those on your reserve characters and make a run through trial mode, and all those license points get converted to gil. Lots and lots of gil.
Cool. I'll have to check that out once I eventually fill up everyone's boards. I'm not there yet, but I'm treading that way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the clan level was?
I don't remember offhand.
Yeah,
I can look it up and tell you later.
I'm not anywhere near there. I just want to be prepared.
I don't think it's worth being prepared. Just do it, man. If you get there and you decide you want it and you're like, yeah. If you don't get there,
Yeah, it's expensive to buy, but you make your money back from it really quickly.
So overall, since you guys are a little further than me, was this a good idea so far? Final Fantasy 12.
I'm
Yeah.
getting there.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the replay.
Okay. Just making sure we're all still having a good time. And if you're having a good time,
Having a good time?
oh yeah, I like it. I'm back in the saddle. You know, I've been gone. It was nice to take a break, but I'm ready to play some FF12. It's all good. And I got to start a mega evolving Pokemon. They just added mega evolutions to Pokemon Go.
But that's a different pod.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It is. But if you're having a good time listening to our FF12 stuff, if you have advice without spoilers, where would it go?
You could send that to podcast@weweregamers.com. That's our email address. You could also go to our YouTube and tell us on there. We search for We Were Gamers on there and mash that subscribe button and then click the thing to notify you when our new episodes come up.
Or you could smash it with a Blaseball bat.
There you go.
The Tigers got shamed.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're down -2.
Oh no.
I really feel like you shouldn't bet on teams with targeted shame unless you're like betting right before their game so you know if they got shamed or not. Because they were the 60% favorite. And now they're down 2 to start.
Tigers are also good, so maybe they'll hit their way out of it and it won't be a problem.
Struggling. The
They're
millennials
5 and 7.
5 and 7 is not great. The millennials are 7 and 5, and they also have targeted shame.
Oh, fair. The lovers are 10 and 2, so
Do they have targeted shame?
no.
No, that's probably why. They've been the beneficiary. But they also have Knight Urlacher, and they have like a huge pitching staff. Okay, let's move on.